What's going on, everyone? It is Camille, Aiko. I hope that you are living the life that you love, spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. It is 12:46 Eastern Standard Time, and I know I am on here later than usual. Some of you are probably asleep. You will only catch this on replay, and that is perfectly fine. But as I began to make a status and say, hey guys, I'm not going to do this live today because I've been traveling all day, I said 10X rule will not allow me to do that. 10X rule is saying, get your butt on that live, cover this chapter, and get it done. Stay committed to what you said that you were going to do. And so I am here. Hey, what's going on, Wilbur? Yeah, please, if you're going to join in, I know it's late, go ahead and drop a 1 below. Let me know that you're tuning in. If you're catching this on replay, drop a 2. And, you know, I'm just really doing this not only for all of us, but because I have to hold myself accountable. You know, if you want change, it all starts with you. And so I need to be a good example. So even though I've been traveling all day, it would have been so easy for me to make the excuse that I was tired, that I'm dealing with a group of teenagers, that I've been dealing with adults all day. I've been, you know, just going. But I said, that is not what is going to happen. I will not be the person who retreats. I will not be the person who takes no action. I will not be the person who takes normal action, but we will take massive action, and we will persist through tiredness. We will persist through the desire to really say, let's put this off until tomorrow. And that's what the 10X rule is about, right? It is about applying 10 times more effort and 10 times more thought to be able to get the results that you want. And so there was plenty of things that happened throughout my day that was out of my control, but you have to have a positive attitude about it, and you just keep pushing. And you find the negative things or the things that didn't happen the way that you desired for them to, you find a way for you to be able to use that as an opportunity. And so I'm glad that I was able to just help people through their situations. Even though things didn't go as I had planned them to, I was able to be a calm voice for other people. And so we always have to look for that moment of opportunity. Yes, stay committed. I was starting, yes, here I am. Don't wander no more. I am here. Same. I was worried about you. Thank you, guys. Yes. I'm okay. And this week, it may not be. Typically, I go between 10:30, 11:30. This week, I'm going to aim for that. But I don't know what my schedule is like. I'm going to be dealing with a group of teenagers this week, so I have a different set of responsibilities than I would typically have. Thank you, Bradford. So, and thank you guys for joining in. So many of you that I've seen even pop on here are consistent in at least saying hi, if nothing else, and coming in to watch the live. So I appreciate that, and you guys being consistent and looking for me and caring enough about me to at least wonder, like, hey, she okay? So if you are watching this live for the first time, we are reading the 10X Rule book, and this is by Grant Cardone, and I have, come on in, guys. I'm doing a lot, but it's fine. So it's by Grant Cardone. So we are on chapter 14 right now, and you might hear some noise and people in the background. Those are my lovely teenagers that are with me for the week. So yes, so this chapter is talking about expand and never contract. So no matter what it is that is going on, that you go big, you go bigger and go bigger. When everybody else is like, let's run and hide, let's retreat, let's give up, this is your moment for opportunity. This is where you establish a time where you can go forward and absolutely kill the game, because nobody else is doing it. And we have to dare to be different. We have to go after what other people aren't willing to go after. Oh, and my phone is charged, and it's charging. Okay, so I went through great lengths to make sure my phone was charged too. As far as walking and exercises, you know what, they don't have school, but they are all such great students that it's bittersweet for them. They're like, well, it's great we don't have school, but we have a lot of work to do and accomplish. So they're very much focused on their academics. You don't have to be so quiet. Oh, okay. They're like tiptoeing around. It's okay. So this is my Facebook Live video that I do every night, ladies. Okay, so I'm discussing. Yes, we're doing a book discussion. Okay, so tonight, and just really thinking about expanding and not contracting. When we begin to think about this, a lot of times it means that we're going into self-preservation mode and protection of our assets, and it's that kind of thinking that actually stops us from getting what we want. And so in fact, I was talking to someone tonight, and they were talking about how they want to lose weight, but they don't eat properly. And so their body goes into this place of self-preservation, and their body is holding on to this fat, and it's the fat that they want to release. But because their body has gone into self-preservation mode, they're actually retaining the weight. And this is how we do in our lives, is that it's the very things that we want to let go of that actually begin to stick to us. And this is why we have to continue to expand our minds and say we can't stay in this same place, because our minds become like the body fat. And instead of being easily released, it is just being stuck like, no, I've got to stay here. I don't want to move. And then we come into an inaction, and then it's harder for us to be able to let go of that baggage that we don't want. So now contracting is a form of retreating. So we've talked about the different degrees of action, right? Number 1 is doing nothing. Number 2 is retreating. So that means you're going back to your comfort zone. That means you're saying, hey, I'm scared of whatever my results will be or what I think they might be. I'm scared of rejection, and so I'm not doing it. And then we know that number 3 is normal levels of activity, where it's like I'm just going to do the bare minimum of what it takes, and I'm going to get whatever those results are, but actually it ends up diminishing because we aren't able to come up against obstacles and win because we're not prepared. And then there's all out massive action, and that's what the 10X rule is about. The 10X rule is about all out massive action. And so contracting is a form of retreating, and it violates the 10X rule. It completely violates the whole thing of massive action when we're cowardly backing up saying, you know what, I can't do it. It's not going to work for me, right? I watched the author on YouTube today. Your presentation is better in all reality. Well, thanks, Bradford. Hey, Tiana Wrightsville, checking in. Y'all are up late too, okay? Y'all were watching the game? Y'all check into the game? Okay, so the 10X rule demands you to continue to act, produce, and create massive quantities regardless of the situation or circumstances. So things can look absolutely crazy in your life. Things can look like they're all going downhill. Nothing is going to work out for you. Just all odds are against you. And Grant is saying that even though odds may look horrible, odds may look like gloom and doom, and there is no way possible, you have to get up and take action. You can't just sit there and be the little punk sitting on the sideline. You got to get up and you got to say, okay, this is what my plan is. This is how I'm going to attack this situation. I'm going to apply 10 times more effort and 10 times more thought. I'm going to be 10 times more prepared for this situation. That is what the 10X rule is. And so in these moments, we then have to get up and say, I'm not going to be that person, but I'm going to look for opportunities to grow. Like, where can I grow my business? Where can I grow my relationships? Where can I grow this opportunity on my job? Where can I grow my spiritual life? So even though it might look like, let's say everybody in the company that you're working for is leaving, but you like the company, well, stay there, and guess what? Put in the work. Do what you need to do so that you can rise to the top. It may seem like, you know, everybody in their marriages are going to go and get a divorce. That doesn't mean you go and get one. That means you work hard on your marriage, not to influence or the mindset of your significant other because that's how it happens, right? Negative things start happening, and suddenly we're looking around and we're like, oh my gosh, well, maybe I shouldn't be in this relationship because she said that all men cheated, and so you're probably cheating on me, right? And so no, you have to combat that stuff. You can't allow the environment to come and negatively influence you without giving it a good fight, right? And so this also could be, again, in your business, that it might look like the economy is taking a turn for the worse. And if the economy is taking a turn for the worse, that means people are cutting down on promoting, people are cutting down on positions, they're cutting down on salaries. And so Grant is saying, don't cut down, don't back up, but this is the moments that you move forward, complete force, full head, just keep going. It doesn't matter what's happening. You know, there's a competition in my company that's going on right now, and it's so very identifiable of those people who are like, you know what, I want this and I'm going to dominate this and I'm going after it no matter what it takes, versus those people who are like, it just seems like it's not possible, so I'm just not going to do it at all. Like, you can very much tell who those people are and who those people aren't. And the people who are implementing the 10X rule, whether they realize it or not, they are absolutely dominating. They are killing it. So the question you have to ask yourself is, in times of trouble, in times of difficulty, are you going to back out and be like, okay, I'm going to contract, I'm going to start go into preservation mode, right? If I can get that word out. Or am I going to expand? Am I going to go harder? Am I going to look for the opportunities in which I can grow my business when everybody else is trying to run away, right? You have to take opportunity and advantage of those moments where people are being cowards and bouncing. You got to be like, no, I'm coming. I'm stepping up to the plate, because if you walked away, that means there's more opportunity for me. That means that there's more customers, there's more clients, there's more fish in the sea, there's more everything available to me, because everybody else is leaving it alone. And if everybody else is doing it, that's a good sign for you probably not to do it. Okay, just because following the crowd really never gets people anywhere, and you're always too late by the time you're following the crowd, that means you've really pretty much missed the mark. But he goes on to say that expand in times of difficulty. This is an approach that you must adopt in order to take advantage of the opportunity. And so I even look at this, you know, when I'm telling you all the 10X rule is applicable to every area of your life. I was thinking as I was reading this chapter, the movie Fireproof, and how in the movie Fireproof, maybe you have or haven't seen it, but it is based around a marriage that is starting to go downhill. The wife wants out, like the husband, everybody wanted out. But the husband decides that he is going to fight for his marriage. And so even in the midst of difficulty, he decides that he is going to put in more effort. In the time where it seemed like his wife was going to go astray and that she had found somebody else and he didn't know what to do and he just didn't think that it would work, he mustered up the courage and the small amount of belief to say, you know what, maybe it is possible for us to restore this marriage. And so he began to put in 10 times more effort, 10 times more thought, 10 times more preparation into his marriage, and he was able to save his marriage. So in these times of difficulties in our lives, in these times where it seems like the impossible is going on, we have to look at that as opportunity and say, I'm ready to come after it. I am ready to attack it with all that I have so that I can get the best results out of my life, so that I can get everything that I deserve and everything that I desire out of my life. We have to be willing to put in the work. When everybody else wants to contract, we have to be willing to expand. When everybody else wants to contract, we have to be willing to expand. We have to go bigger, we have to go harder, and we have to cut out all distractions and all noise. He says, regardless of what is going on in the world, most people are not taking massive action. And because they're not taking massive action, that means that there is plenty of room for you and me to come in and take massive action and completely dominate, completely take over a complete sector of whatever it is that we want to, because we're lazy. Majority of people are lazy. And so that means if we're willing to put in the work, even though someone may have the talent, though someone may have the skills, because they lack effort, they will not beat us. So are you willing to put in the effort? Are you willing to go pass out flyers for your business? Are you willing to make those extra phone calls? Are you willing to spend a little bit more money? Are you willing to sacrifice something so that you can be able to achieve what it is that you want? Or are you saying, I just wish I might, like you want to get a genie, right? You want to find a genie in a bottle and rub on it and everything's supposed to happen? No, life doesn't happen like that. You got to put in some work. And then once you put in that work, then maybe the genie will pop out and give you what you want. But it only is going to come after you put in some work. And then it might seem magical, but it's only because of the seeds that you planted and things that you have done, because we know that everything that happens in our lives is something that we have attracted. It happens because of something that we have done in our lives. Okay? So he says there are times when you have to defend, retreat, and conserve, but you should only do that for short periods of time in order to prepare yourself to reinforce and to attack again. So the only moments where you are retreating is when you are going back and you're rethinking the master plan, when you're going back and thinking of different ideas so that you can prepare and attack. Not go get scared, run in a quarter, go back to your comfort zone, get all of those crazy things that never allow us to achieve what it is that we desire. Okay, that's what we're not doing. But what we are doing is going back and saying, okay, how can I approach this better? What can I do differently? What am I going to do that everybody else isn't doing that's going to give me an edge on what it is that I'm trying to accomplish, right? Okay, so the next point. Most people don't fail because they expand too fast, but because they don't properly prepare. Preparation is so key. So they don't properly prepare for expansion and cannot dominate their sector. So it's like we just go out here and we're just moving, but we have no intent and we have no plan, and we're just out here going. That's like I tell people on my team as they're building their business. You know, you can't just go out here and get a whole bunch of people on your team that you can't manage and that you can't train and that you can't help them to duplicate a process. Because if you do that, then what is going to happen is that you're not going to be able to dominate your business because no one can do what you're doing. And so you have to be able to slow down and create a plan that's actually going to work in order to dominate. So in order for you to dominate, sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. And in that slow down period is where you are actually creating the plan, where you're actually putting strategies in place. And see, we're just out here like boom, 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 just going on the fly. And you can't just go on the fly all the time. Like you have to actually think. Imagine that, y'all. We actually have to think about what it is that we want to do. But we already know that life happens so crazy sometimes that we talked about the other day that we're just running on autopilot. And so it's our subconscious mind that is telling us to do what we need to do instead of our conscious mind. So we're not really here present when we're taking action. It's these subconscious thoughts. And so that's when we end up forgetting. That's when we do stuff halfway. That's when, and again, the prime example that we have been using, if you've been on my lives and watching, is the example that when I was working on autopilot, that's how I locked my stuff in an office and had to walk home at midnight in the cold because I wasn't on my P's and Q's, because I hadn't properly planned. I hadn't properly prepared. And that's what happens, that when we don't prepare, we end up reaping consequences that we don't want. We end up reaping the bad consequences. Okay, so the other thing that Grant says is that we need to have unwavering, very deep, Christina, and we put ourselves in a position where we aren't able to receive our blessings because of us. Not because God didn't want to bless us, not because the enemy was after us, only because we did not properly plan. Only because we got in our own way and we didn't do what we needed to do. It's us, it's self. Because we lack the proper planning. So going back to this, yes, autopilot is very real. So unwavering expansion will set you apart more than any other single activity. So when you decide that you want to put in more effort and you want to go bigger and you want to make a bigger impact, or maybe it's businesses. You want to go and open more stores, or maybe it's in your relationship. You want it to grow, so you're going to go out here and you're going to spend more time, you're going to spend more money, you're going to go on more vacations. Or maybe it's your friendships. Maybe you're tired of saying, I don't have any good friends. So what you really want to do is go and invest in some friendships, and actually, and even work on yourself. Like, a lot of times we have bad relationships, friendships, marriages because of ourselves, of who we are. So why don't you invest on working on yourself? That's part of the plan too. And if it's not, it needs to be, because it can't always be everybody else. Like, if you have failing everything, it's not always them. In fact, most times it's you, because you can't control anybody but yourself. And if everything is going wrong, there's only one common denominator. Yep. You already know. It's you. Work on you. That's part of the plan. Yes, Waylon, go big or go home. Thought that's what happened to you again tonight. No, not tonight. That did not happen to me tonight. Tonight I was good. Tonight I was on everybody else's plan. And I was able to see how when other people work on autopilot, what happens. And so there were some misfortunate things that happened on tonight, which I'm not going to go into detail on, but it was because, we function on autopilot, and then how we respond to people. A lot about how you respond to people is a lot of the reaction that you're going to get. Okay, how you interact with people. And so just being able to see that, but instead of this time it being me, and me going off on the person who was like getting at me in road rage, it wasn't me tonight. Tonight I got to be the calm voice. Tonight I got to be the one like, everything is going to be okay. Thank God that this didn't happen, and being able to see all of the positive. Like, I was the little angel one tonight, okay? So I was good, right? And even though the things that I had planned didn't work out the way that I thought they were, it was still like, 10x action, because challenges come, and because you're committed, because you're dedicated, because you know what you're doing, you're going to get up here and you're going to do it anyway. There's no excuses, right? If you want people to see that you're committed, if you want to be committed to yourself and prove to yourself that this is what you want, right, then you're going to get up here and you're going to do this. No questions asked. It's done. So it is what it is, right? Yes, observation. Listen, honey, today has been a day. What was supposed to be a 8-hour drive was like a 12-hour, 13-hour, I don't know, right before I got on here type of day. So I was supposed to go to sleep last night. I didn't, maybe for about an hour and a half, and then got up and have been moving ever since, and interacting with people. And even though I love people, for me, that's part of the introverted part of me, where it drains me to be around people like all the time. So because I'm typically by myself, so when I'm like around people all the time, like, I get even more tired. And so it's nothing about the people, just my personality. Like, I have to give more, and so it drains me more, and then I'm tired more, which is why I wanted to go to sleep, but I'm not. I can't. I'm dedicated. I'm true to this. So I'm on the slide, right? I thought you were an angel. I guess unless you get pushed to the brink, you have to snap back. Listen, honey, sometimes I do have that snap back spirit. We working on it. We working on it. Hey, Bobby. Yeah, so, okay, let's move on to this next point. So the unwavering expansion will set you apart more than any other single activity. That is the point that we were on. And so with this, it just really just reiterates what he's saying, that if you are steadfast and you're just like, nobody can stop me, like, I am going for it, I'm doing it. Like, no one can say anything. I am doing this. Then people have to recognize you for your boldness. People have to recognize you for your effort. Whether or not they like you or not, that's not even the question. But people are going to begin to have to respect you, and that's going to set you apart. Because too many of these people out here, they start businesses, and if you don't know the statistics, the average business only last 5 years. Like if they start up, then their lifespan is 5 years or less. And so we already know that most people, when they get started in something, they get started in a business, they get started in a marriage, they get started in a relationship, it ain't gonna last long because people can't take it. They're not willing to do what it takes. They're not willing to put in 10x effort. They're not willing to expand who they are. And so therefore they can't expand anything else that's going on in their lives, because you can only function at the level that you're at. And if you're not willing to go to a higher level, then what you're working on can't go to a higher level. And so therefore you will get stuck because you can't solve a new problem at the same level of thinking. And so if you're still here and you're thinking, but you have problems that are up here, guess what? You shut down. End of story, right? OG Millie Mill. Psych. No OG here. Yes, if 5 years. Joshua's spirit confident and determined about going into the land. Right, we have to go out there and possess our land. Like, it's ours. I'm taking it. It's mine. I dominate this. I'm a force to be reckoned with. You can't have it. It's mine. I'm taking massive action. Most of us don't have that mindset. Most of us are like the children of Israel who are complaining like, well, let's just go back to being slaves. Like, can we go back to Pharaoh? Because at least there, like, I knew I was where my head was going to lay down at night. Like, at least there, they would beat me, but I knew what was going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen here, and I'm scared. Like, that is our mindset, and we can't be that way. You know, if we want to make it to the promised land, if we want to get the results that we desire, if we want to be able to achieve 10 times greater, we got to be like, listen, honey, it is mine. It is mine. What do I have to do? What is it going to take? What do I have to do next? Right? Oh, thank you, dear. Speaking of pens, or you picking up my pen, who was the chewer? Who's the culprit? Who chewed on this pen? Who did it? Someone chewed on this pen. Anyway. Okay. Exactly. People start getting pressure and they pop. Got to be able to handle pressure and not stress out. That man, and not stress out. That is key right there. Like, we stress out and then we go back to the negative habits. Now we're like, oh, now I got to go smoke. I got to go get this drink because I'm so stressed out. I got to go back to eating this bad thing because I'm so stressed out, right? So it's like we stress out and then we go back to a bad habit because we stress out. And it's like, oh, man, we ever going to get out of this? Are you ever going to get out of this? Like, I just be looking at people sometimes and it just seems like, because not everybody's going to get this 10x rule. Not everybody wants a better life. And so some of those people, sometimes I do kind of look at as like a hopeless case. But, you know, what can we do but continue to try and be a positive influence and keep going? But I pray, like, please come out of that. Because that's not a good look on you, right? Like, my face is like that too. Working on those facial expressions. Exactly. I know what I mean, OG? Yeah. Was that OG-ish enough? That's Einstein. You can't solve problems with the same. Exactly, Bradford. That's when God is working on you the most. You're going through the pressure, the heat. This is when you're growing. Yes, you've got to be creative and think. You've got to be able to say there is no shortage of creativity. There is no shortage of effort. There is no shortage of ideas. There's no shortage of dreams. All of that is unlimited. The only thing that limits us is us, because we decide we want to stop dreaming. We don't want to think anymore. We would just rather go and sit on the couch and watch somebody else's dreams by watching TV and having life stop right there, right? And allowing us to live vicariously through other people. Like, we become friends with the people on TV and we don't even know them. Like, girl, did you see my girl on TV? Like, that's not your life. Like, why don't you go get a life and quit watching everybody on TV and like make something of yourself, right? I was talking to someone and they were like, they had this bag for $400, but some things happened and like they were in the negative in their bank account. And I was just sitting here listening to their conversation. Like, I was just so confused about why are we acting like we're balling here and we're not? Like, why are you telling me and bragging to me about this purse that you have, but your bank account is negative? Like, where are your priorities? What's happening in life? Where are you implementing the 10X rule? You don't have to answer that because I already know. And I was just looking at her like, oh my gosh, like, but the thing is there's so many of us like that, and we have to declare and decree, like, I don't want to be that way anymore. I told you all my story of being to the point where I couldn't afford my favorite Smoothie King, right? Like, I love Smoothie King. I couldn't go get a smoothie for $5 because I was mismanaging my money. Like, we have to get to the point where we're like, we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And we don't want this to happen anymore. Like, I'm tired of living my life like this. I'm tired of feeling like I can't go and treat myself to something that costs $5 because literally I have spent my last. And if it's between me going to get this smoothie and getting gas, I'm not going to be able to get gas if I go get my smoothie. And then if I get gas, it's not going to last very long anyway because I don't have no money. Like, are you tired or nah? Most of us is on or nah. Like, we'd rather just go beg and throw a pity party. But this is not what it's about. This is the time that when we have challenges in our lives that we expand and not contract. These aren't the times where we're like, well, I just don't see how it's going to happen. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills, so I'm just going to go sit with the lights off in the dark and then hope for something to mysteriously happen. No, get out here, sell something. I don't go sell your clothes, go give blood, go give plasma, go do something. Like, get creative about what it is that you can do to solve the problems in your life, whether it's very basic problems or whether it's something on a huge scale. Like, stop being complacent. Stop living that mediocre mindset where you can't achieve anything when challenges come. Like, you just sit down and back out. Stop that. Stop it. Stop it. Right now. Don't do it anymore. Okay. Exactly your face when certain people come. I'm just saying, Wilbur. And I don't know if they can see it on my face or not, or really what I'm thinking, but it's just kind of like, And then, with those people, you can't even argue with them or really give them any real advice because that's where they want to stay. So it's kind of like you have to ask them, well, what are you wanting to do about it? And if they say, give you the next excuse, then that's when you just have to walk away. And if I can't, like, walk away in that moment, I'm just like, yeah. While I'm plotting my next exit move because I can't take it. Like, a person who's a whiner who doesn't want to make any changes about it, then there's nothing I can do for you because change doesn't happen until you want change to happen, until you decide that you want to change. Hello, exactly. People be fake. Be humble, people. Yes, people will like you so much more. You must have strong, stay in your lane, focus, what needs to get done. Yes. So, okay, let's move on to these next couple points. We're not going to be on here long. There's like 3 or 4 more points. So it just depends on how much y'all talk to me and how much I talk back. All right. What is the point? Now, the next thing. Expanding when others are contracting is a difficult discipline, but make it your innate method of responding, and the ability to continuously, relentlessly attack any activity will give you forward movement. Okay, so if we are constantly in a point of how do we make it better? How do we expand? How do we get more clients? How do we get better at pleasing the special person in our life? The husband, the wife, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the friend, whoever, right? How do we get better at doing what it is that we're trying to achieve? How is it that we get better at growing our relationship with God? How is it that we do these things when we're always in the place of let's strategize to attack it right on? Like, let's get in the discipline of expanding. Let's not get to a place where we feel like we've achieved it all. Like, okay, well, I had 100 people come and buy a product. Okay, well, this person told me that they love me. It doesn't stop right there. You have to go bigger. You have to go better. You have to say, how can I expand? What is the next thing that I can do? When everything in the world is going wrong around you and everybody is backing up, what are you saying? Are you saying I need to contract? Or are you saying I need to expand? The right answer is, I need to expand. What can I do? Where are these areas of opportunity? We're always looking for opportunity. That's what successful people do. They look for areas of opportunity. They look for areas of growth. And then they get disciplined on doing that and attacking it. Like you own that. This is no one else's. Okay? That's how this woman looked at me today when I was in McDonald's. And her back was sitting next to me. This is an older couple, real deep wrinkles and everything. So, of course, I was not interested in her man in any kind of way. But I walked by and he looked at me. He made eye contact with me. So I said hello and was very chipper as I was on my way to go and relieve myself in the little ladies' room. And so when I walk back out, the woman looks at me up and down. Okay, like I own this. This is all of mine. All of these are wrinkles and dentures. This is mine. All of this gray hair. And I just had to chuckle and I smiled at her and I said, hello, right? But the way that she looked at me, I said, this is how we need to attack our problems. We need to be like, this is mine. I dominate this. This is my area. This is my sector. I am a force to be reckoned with, because that's how she was looking at me, like, honey, you do not have nothing on me, you little young girl walking by saying hi to my man. We need to be like, who are you thinking you about to come up into my business arena, taking my customers, taking my clients? Who are you to think that you're going to come up in between me and my God, right? Like, who are you? And look them up and down, like, you ain't got nothing on this. There is no competition, because I run this. I rule this. Okay? So anyway, let's move on. Implement the tactic of expansion, regardless of whether the economy and those surrounding you encourage you to do so. Because you have to remember that our society really teaches contracting. It doesn't really talk about expanding, right? And the people around you, they think with such low level thinking that they're not going to encourage you expanding when it seems like all things are bad. I'm sorry, there's this minion who's gotten on my live and he's like throwing angry faces. It looks like it's Brandon Myrie. Brandon. Thank you for giving me that chuckle. But I need you to stop being petty and grow up, because this is my area. I am dominating this. Take your little angry faces on somewhere. Okay, so back to my point though. So society is like, y'all need to back up, but this is society's like Jedi mind tricks, right? Like they want you. Now I love you for real though, Brandon. And for all of y'all who don't know me and Brandon, we joke like that all the time, okay? So this is society's way of doing the Jedi mind tricks, like, we want you to do what we want you to do so that we can have control over you, right? And so they want you to follow these trends. They want you to back up so that then they can trap you into their plan to save you, right? With all of these great plans that they're going to do and make America great again and all this stuff, right? And they cause you to depend on them when really what you should have been doing was expanding in the time where everybody else was contracting, right? So, you know, we have to really think about this and say, when there's news of contraction, that's when you need to go contrary to what's going on in society and what's going on in the news. This is not the time for you to back up. This is the time for you to identify the areas in which you can grow. And this is not even to say that it's going to happen right away, right? And so Grant was saying that there was a time the economy was going bad and businesses were cutting employees and different things. And so he said, I didn't cut my employees. In fact, I began to add more into their paychecks. He spent more on marketing. And he was like, I actually cut my income. I cut my salary so that I could be able to pour more into my company. And it took 18 months. But then once those results hit, he saw exponential growth. So what are you willing to do that other people aren't willing to do? You know, when other people are like, well, let's go ahead and cut this position and let's do this. And maybe if I get rid of you, then I won't even have to deal with the problem at all. Like some of us, we want to get rid of people in our lives because we don't really want to deal with the problem versus investing in them. And then maybe they become and blossom this beautiful thing, but you don't know because you're ready to just cut it. Like you have no intestinal fortitude to deal with anything. And so you just cut it instead of investing in building and watching something grow. Whether that's, it doesn't matter what it is, spiritual, mental, physical, financial, right? Some of us have physical goals, but you don't want to go to the gym. Like, you're like, well, I want this type of body, but do I have to change my eating? I want this type of body, but do I have to work out? Like, I want this type of body, but can I continue to eat this junk food that I've always eaten that has gotten me the results that I want? So can I change nothing and get the results that I desire? It's like, what? Where do they do that at? No, you can't do that. Like you have to take massive action. Like you have to do something different in order to get different results. Like I don't understand what we don't understand, but I guess it's just that comfort level. Like we get trapped there, right? So I guess that's what it is. I'm still trying to figure out when America stopped being great. Oh yeah, Jen. Wilbert, yeah, that was pun intended as well when I said that. TL sister, I have a TLC question. Go ahead, Adonis, knock yourself out. Ask me that question. Okay, so instead of following the crowd, lead the crowd. You see people contracting, it's time for you to expand. It's time for you to take action. It's time for you. So if, especially, you know, I'll use my business as an example, right? Where if you're looking at it where there's a lot of people who aren't working or they don't want to get out here and get results, that's the time for you to go out and get results, because that means that now you're going to be dominating that area. You're going to be dominating, especially since Adonis mentioned total life changes. You know, you're going to be dominating TLC because everybody's going to see you out there working and they're going to want to partner with you. Okay? So, Wilbert, what are you doing in your business to get 10 times more clients, to be able to help 10 times more people? I want to know, what are you doing? How are you investing? What are you sacrificing so that you can get higher and better results? What are you doing? I need to know. My wife, baby father, heart is 20%. What TLC products can fix his heart? Well, first, you know that we don't make any medical claims. And I'm not exactly sure what is the root issue of his heart working at that level, but you definitely want to check into the Tachui or the Chaga as well, Adonis, just depending. And I say those two because they have very broad not results, but benefits. So do your due diligence and research those two products. You can inbox me maybe what is actually the cause of his heart working at the 20%. It might be fluid and congestive heart failure. Okay. So just depending on what it is that's going on with the heart. Okay. And hopefully I can give you a more specific answer and suggest some products for you. Okay. All right. But meanwhile, we would definitely be praying for him, because that is not a fun situation to be in. I have an uncle who was operating at a very low percentage, and my mother who is operating at a very low percentage, but thanks be to God, they are both still alive. So if it is possible for them, it is possible for him as well. Okay. So now getting back to the 10X rule. The final two things that I'm going to say here, well, actually, maybe it's three, maybe two, I don't know. So expand, push, take action, regardless of what others saying or are doing. Whatever other people are saying, whatever they are doing, remember that your goals aren't based upon somebody else's purpose. Your goals are based upon your purpose. And so therefore you can't listen to what all of these people who aren't doing anything, who are retreating and who are doing normal levels of action and aren't where they want to be. You can't keep allowing them to keep talking in your ear. Now, it's one thing, it's like if they're pushing forward and they're actually having some sound principle, you know, that's one thing. But the other thing is when you have people who like really aren't doing anything and are just trying to steer you in the wrong direction. Like I was telling you all that the girl who just knew that that man was supposed to be her man and I'm cool with him, and I'm just kind of like, girl, no, it's not. But she knew her purpose was to be that man's wife. And guess what? They're married with children. Now, had she listened to me or come to me for advice, like I told y'all the other night, they would not be married, because I would have talked her out of it. Like, girl, he don't want you, and stop bringing them candy bars, and, you know, stop doing these things for him because he don't want it. Girl, he don't want it. Right? And that's how so many voices come to us, because we don't understand the vision, or they don't understand the vision. They don't understand the purpose. And so we allow people to talk us right out of it. Oh, and girls, don't worry. The rest of the nights I'll go out of the room and do this, because they're like all in bed now, because they were here before time. They were here before time, the time that I told them to come back. So kudos to them. I'm so excited for them. And we'll talk more about what I'm doing later on in the week. Okay, so I've had all of these sidebars. Y'all, excuse me on tonight. Now, the final thing that I'm going to say, and even though I've already said it, I'm going to reiterate it. And if you want to know more about that chapter, make sure you go pick it up and read it. And the final thought is, again, just to be willing to do what other people are not willing to do. So like going back to the example where Grant said, you know what, I'm not going to cut people out, and I'm not going to cut salaries, and I'm not going to cut back on marketing. What he did was cut his own salary, right? He went in and started marketing even more. That's 10X rule. When things look gloom and doom, you're going to go all in. Massive action. We are going to expand and not contract. So I want you to think about your lives and think about where you need to expand and not contract. So maybe you have problems that are going on. Identify the issues that you are experiencing in your life. And then I want you to say, I am going to expand and not contract, and create a plan of what you are going to do to attack that problem head on, but not only attack it head on, but to dominate that thing, right? You're going to give them the look that that woman gave me at McDonald's, like, I know you're not even looking in my way. Like, this is not yours. This is not even your territory to look at. Like, that's how we need to be approaching our problems. Opposition, this is not even, what I have going on has nothing to do with you. You need to back up. Like, that's how we need to talk to our problems. Goodbye. Dismissed. So long. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Jamatane. Right? Whatever language you speak. However you want to say it. Like, that's how confident you need to be. But you can't be that confident if you don't have a plan, if you're not prepared. Like, otherwise you're just talking a foreign language, right? You're just speaking in tongues and nobody understands what you're saying. So you want to speak it in a way that when you're done speaking it, your actions match it, and then people can get a very clear view of what you mean. So guys, that is the 10X chapter that we have discussed on tonight, to make sure that you are expanding in times of trouble, times of challenge, times of opposition. And that was chapter 14 of the 10X rule, the book by Grant Cardone that we have been reading. So make sure you drop a 1 if you watch this live. If you've been watching this on replay, drop a 2. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but make sure you share this video for our weekly drawing. And that is for cash gift cards and also free health and wellness products. So guys, I will be back on here tomorrow evening. We will be discussing chapter 15 of the 10X rule by Grant Cardone. So make sure if you have the book that you read that book, so that we can have some good interaction and good engagement on our lives, because I don't want to talk at you. I want to talk with you. All right, my cell, call me tomorrow or text me. I want to save my wife, baby father's life. All right, Adonis, I will do that. Absolutely. You have great energy. Is it that Chaga, Chaga, C-H-A-G-A, if you're referring to Oh, no, that's not why I have great energy. One. Thank you, Bradford. Okay, guys, that's my time. I'm getting off here. We need to go to sleep. Talk to y'all later. My name is Camille Aiko, and I hope that you are living the life that you love spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. Good night.